It's Victor Frankenstein versus his own creation versus Jackson Adkerson, 6-time Yellowstone Grand Prix winner. Then the lights go out and the race is underway. Frankenstein and that lightweight Maserati will get the best start, but once the monster's Corvette starts putting the power to the ground, it will immediately pull away. Victor Frankenstein and his own creation going too wide in the turn 1, but Jackson Adkerson in that orange Mini Cooper lagging behind a little bit. The Mini is the least powerful car here, but with its short wheelbase, it should do better than both of these guys in the very tight corners. The Monster and Victor Frankenstein still side by side, but the Monster might get a run coming out of Sector 1 on Victor Frankenstein, and he will clear it and he will take first place. Jackson Adkerson starting to catch up as they head into Sector 2. It's the Monster, Frankenstein Adkerson, that's leading the way right now halfway through lap 1. But who will have it at the end of the race? Look at how close Jackson Adkerson is to the back of Victor Frankenstein. He's going to lose a little bit of ground down this straight, but once they get to the hairpin, he'll make it back up. This is one of the corners that the Mini is good at, and he is flinging it through the hairpin. Look at how close he is to Victor Frankenstein, but that exit won't be enough to get the move done yet. But through here, the Michael Schumacher S's is where the Mini really comes into its own. Look at the speed it carries. Will we see some form of overtake from Jackson Adkerson on Victor Frankenstein? In practice, this is where the Mini had the biggest difference compared to all the other cars, and there's contact between Jackson Adkerson and Victor Frankenstein, but Adkerson might just try the up and under. He has a run. Will it be enough? It will not. He still sits behind Victor Frankenstein, but you can tell just how hard he's trying to get around Victor Frankenstein, and the Monster is simply walking away from it right now. He has had no competition whatsoever. Frankenstein might just have to back off to deal with Jackson Adkerson's assault. The high-powered Corvette certainly suits this truck very well. Even though there are some very tight corners, it still has enough grip to get it around and send it right out of the exit of that hairpin there. Look at the speed he's going to gather down the main straight, but it's going to be Victor Frankenstein who gets the best run. Look at this. The lightweight Maserati with its 280 horsepower is definitely no slouch down the main straight, but it will still be Frankenstein's Monster who leads the way into turn 1. Jackson Adkerson still struggling to keep up with the two of them, but he's right all over the back of Victor Frankenstein now. Sector 1 is where this Mini really shines. Both Sector 1 and Sector 3, Jackson Adkerson very wide around the outside, but he gets around Victor Frankenstein. That's up the P2 for Jackson, and he's going to get a phenomenal exit through here. That's the perfect line, and he's going to have quite the run on Victor Frankenstein's Monster. He won't be able to make a move on the Monster, but he's going to get very close, and he might be able to do something in the hairpin. But look at this, sending it around the outside, which here becomes the inside. It still won't be a move, but that was quite brave from Jackson Adkerson. An applaudable effort from that bright orange Mini, but Victor Frankenstein's Monster in that second-generation Corvette still leads the pack. Look at that, going sideways through the hairpin, but keeping it straight on the exit. Victor Frankenstein is starting to drop back, and this Corvette is incredibly fast through all these straightaways, but like I said a lap before, that Mini through the Michael Schumacher S's is the big decider here. He's come very close to the Monster through that sector, and he might try something around the outside, and it's a lockup, and he's gone very wide, but he'll stay in the fight. He's going to try an up and under on the Monster. It won't be anything though. He'll go around the outside and they'll be side by side, but that Corvette is going to have enough power to keep him behind. But how close can Adkerson stay to where he can have an advantage going through the bus stop chicane? 120 miles an hour is all that Mini Cooper can give. Can Jackson Adkerson do something about Frankenstein's Monster? He might have tapped the back of the Monster a little bit, but it's pretty clean so far. He might have something coming through the final corner here. He can carry a lot more speed than the Corvette, that's for sure, but he's going to hold to the inside, and he's going to give the Monster a tap on the back once more, and it's Victor Frankenstein who gets a phenomenal run out of the final corner once more, sending it around the inside of Jackson Adkerson on the exit. He may even have enough to say something about his own creation. No, he'll have to yield before turn 1, but Jackson Atkerson looks around the outside of Victor Frankenstein. He sends it wide, and he gets the move done. Can he do anything about the monster through here? This is where he makes up loads of time. He's going to try once more around the outside on Victor Frankenstein's monster. He might be able to have it here when he comes back through, and the outside becomes the inside, leaving very little room, and Jackson Atkerson puts that bright orange Mini on the front. And he's just gone on the radio and has something to say.
The Corvette, it smells of death.
Yeah, copy that, Jackson. We smell it too. We'll look into it after the race. We can't do anything about it now.
Yeah, okay, it's just really bad. I can smell it through the car.
Jackson complaining of an odd smell from the Corvette of the monster. I wonder what exactly he could mean by that, because I don't really smell anything in the commentary box. Jackson currently has the fastest lap and is building a gap to Frankenstein's monster, but Victor Frankenstein is the one that's making up ground. He's eager to get out of last place, but the monster's Corvette has proven to be quite the formidable machine. It certainly has quite the pace, and it's not really letting Jackson Atkerson go too far, but he is definitely gaining time from these two. Now they have some clean air. Victor Frankenstein very close to the rear of his own creation. The two Swiss drivers are very desperate to improve their finishing positions. They don't want to be beat out by some American boy racer in a hot hatch. Even if that boy racer turns out to be Jackson Atkerson, they want to be better. They certainly have quite a lot more speed than the Mini Cooper through this section. Victor Frankenstein's monster gets very close to the back of Jackson Atkerson, riding the inside curb and bumping him, I think, a little bit, almost hitting that inside bollard. Frankenstein's monster might be close enough to get a run on the final straight. Does he have a chance of coming back past Jackson Atkerson? I think he might. That Corvette will have significantly more speed, but once again, it is Victor Frankenstein who gets the big run, but there's contact between the two of them. Oh my goodness, a puff of smoke coming out from both of the cars. The monster has the inside line on Jackson Atkerson, but Jackson Atkerson might just have the grip in that little Mini to keep it going around the outside, which now becomes the inside, but Victor Frankenstein's monster still giving it the power around the outside, and he might be able to get a move done. This turns into the inside through here, and yes, Frankenstein's monster takes back the lead of the race. But not for long, as Jackson Atkerson gets a run out of the corner, but I think that Corvette will have enough speed to just take it right back on this straight, braking later than Jackson, but that's, whoa, very brave from Jackson, maybe a little bit on the grass. Didn't expect Frankenstein's monster to be that slow through that corner compared to the Mini. Had to take evasive action. The race between all three of them is still miraculously close, but it's Victor Frankenstein's monster and Jackson Atkerson that are really breaking away from Victor Frankenstein himself. And look at that, Jackson Atkerson down the inside of the monster, and he's got a lot of pace through the Michael Schumacher S's. He's gonna gain time through here. Jackson Atkerson is not willing to give up that first place spot, but the monster very desperately wants it back. So desperate, in fact, that Frankenstein's monster might use his big hands to wrap himself around Jackson Atkerson's neck and strangle him for the win. That shiny first place medal being the sole reason for this. Just 1.5 laps left for Jackson Atkerson to hold on to first, or for Frankenstein's monster or Victor Frankenstein himself to take the lead. They're all very close, and they're all very able to take first place. And any one of these drivers making a small mistake could be critical to decide the final positions in the race. Look at the speed Frankenstein's monster carries out of the bus stop chicane, and Jackson Atkerson locking up, going very wide, and he's not going to be able to fight Frankenstein's monster back. And once again, I assume Victor Frankenstein in that little Maserati is going to have the most speed. Jackson Atkerson moving very sharpish to get into the slipstream of the monster, and he looks as though he took a look to the inside, but I don't think he's going to go for it. No, if anything, he's going to try the up and under, but it won't be anything. It will be around the outside for Jackson Atkerson. Back into the inside through here. He has about a half car's length ahead of Frankenstein's monster. He does not give any space. There's contact between the two of them. This corner will turn to where Frankenstein's monster will have the inside, but Jackson Eckerson sticks it around the exit and holds on to first place. That was some very aggressive defending, mayhaps too aggressive. He may be penalized for that, but perhaps not. From the outside, anyways, it looked a bit like a racing incident, and that tap was so small anyways, it couldn't have forced Frankenstein's monster to go too wide. But it's the final lap, and there's only a couple of corners the Mini can go through to gain an advantage. The second half of this track is quite a lot of straightaway. Jackson's going to have to drive as hard as he can through these last couple of corners in order to gain a big enough gap to where he won't have to worry about Frankenstein's monster. Victor Frankenstein seems to be completely out of the picture now. No idea what's happened to him, but he seems quite far back compared to these two. This next corner is where Jackson Eckerson can make enough time to really secure the win. We'll see if he does it. No, it looks like a slow entry and a lockup from Jackson Eckerson, but keeps it on the track, just not carrying as much speed as he could through there. Frankenstein's monster is going to be within striking distance unless Jackson Eckerson can go very fast through the bus stop chicane and the final hairpin. Frankenstein's monster is certainly closing the gap as we head into the bus stop chicane. That Mini Cooper tops out at 120 miles an hour, but that Corvette has an extra 10 miles an hour and some acceleration behind it. Jackson Eckerson has a good run into the final corner, this hairpin here, but Victor Frankenstein and his creation have both had some very good exits out of this corner, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It might be close though. Jackson Eckerson does take it. Jackson Eckerson wins against Victor Frankenstein and his own creation. Congratulations. Let's see what he has to say about that win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really hard, long race, and it was a lot of fun to do this sort of multi-class racing thing. Me and the team worked really hard to get that Mini Cooper in the peak position to take the win, so it feels really good for all that work to pay off in that way. There was a very strange smell from the Corvette of Frankenstein's monster. I kind of smelled of death. You might have heard me complain on the radio about that, but other than that, it went very smoothly, and it was some very close competition from Victor Frankenstein and his monster. I can definitely say that they are a worthy adversary, and yeah, I hope to see him in the grid again sometime soon because they're definitely some pretty good drivers.
So regarding the smell from the Corvette, could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
It just smelled like a dead animal. I mean, I don't mean any offense to the team or Frankenstein's monster or anything, but it was a very strange smell, and it was so potent that I could actually smell it through the Mini Cooper. And the Mini still had its factory insulation as well, so it must have been very strong. I still have no idea what it could be. Me and the team have looked into it through the data, and no idea.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, Jackson.
Yeah, thank you.